Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to
Something else.
something else, Daddy.
This is Nickel Matata, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
And welcome to episode number 237 of Something Else. Feast your hair holes in this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling and World Class Championship Wrestling from October 13th, 1984. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Russian assassin number 2 to my masked invader. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell you doing today?
Look, let's keep things nice. Let's not ruin it already.
Because I called you Russian assassin number 2?
No, because you asked me how it was going.
No. Apparently I brought way too much perk into this week's episode of Something Else.
Something else, all right.
So what the hell? Let's bring it down a little bit. Any thoughts about the death of Sir Mo?
I not really. I don't know. I don't know. Never knew him that much outside of Men on a Mission, and I'm sure that he was a very lovely man, and wishing comfort to his loved ones.
By all accounts, he was a very lovely young man. I did not meet him either at any point, and I mean, I do think the vast majority of people would know him from the WWF version of Men on a Mission. Obviously, some people knew him from the USWA when him and Mabel were the Harlem Knights. But yeah, primarily it would be through Men on a Mission. Apparently
Yeah.
he and Oscar were really close outside of the WWF.
And Oscar is still with us, right?
Yes, he is.
I heard like an interview with him one time. I don't remember if it was a shoot interview or a podcast, but he seemed really cool. And he told a funny story about, like, I think it was the Vegas WrestleMania in '93 that he ends up in a fucking elevator with Vince McMahon and somebody and just starts rapping for him. And I guess that's how he got the job.
Yep, it might have been on actually not even Wrestle Crap Radio. This was pre-Wrestle Crap Radio when RD interviewed Oscar, because he inducted Men on a Mission, and Oscar found it and basically called RD out on it. And he was like the first name that RD ever interviewed.
Oh yeah, I don't think I even knew that. I remember the John Tenta one was the first one I remember.
Okay. I'm not sure who was first. It may have been John Tenta, but it was him and Oscar were like the pre-website gets shut down in 2001 interviews.
No, the Tenta one that I'm thinking about was like kind of on WrestleCrap Radio.
Okay. Because there were two. There was WrestleCrap Radio, and then there was one back in 2000, 2001. But yeah. It's kind of funny.
Blade Braxton, by the way, on the subject.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's kind of funny because like Oscar was given the chance to stay on when Men on a Mission turned heel, and he really didn't want to. And so that was the end of his career.
Yeah, he didn't do anything in wrestling outside of that, did he?
No, no, that was his only gig in wrestling. It's like Todd Patton's smell. He didn't have any gig before the WWF. He left the WWF and was never seen again. Although allegedly he's the person that introduced Michael Cole to the WWF. So if
Goddamn
you
him for
are,
that.
yes.
Uh,
Um, so I know you're a little bit behind on modern day wrestling. Have you been following what's been going on with Shinsuke?
I saw a Fightful Select update a little about I don't know 30 minutes ago that he's and obviously like his name was going to be mentioned as like a wouldn't it be nice if for Tanahashi's retirement match. And there's apparently some people think that his deal might be up this year, but New Japan is under the impression that he re-signed with WWE last year. And I just can't imagine WWE doing anything with New Japan, so I don't think it's gonna happen.
Was gonna say I don't think, and I could be wrong because I'll be honest, I didn't see it. I didn't think it had anything to do with Nakamura's contract being up. I thought it was more, that they would work together with WWE if it were to happen. Now, obviously, there were a lot more reasons for it than this, but there was that Wrestle Kingdom a few years ago that had Carl Anderson on there defending the never open weight title when he was technically under contract with WWE, but that was after you know he I don't know the whole details, but basically he was allowed to go back to lose the title, and it was at the Wrestle Kingdom. I think it was the same one where FTR lost the IWGP tag titles.
Yeah, the FTR match was better.
Yes, yes. FTR. I don't even remember who the hell they wrestled, but I can
Bishamon,
almost,
which was like that was like a
yeah.
dream match of mine, so that was a fucking great match.
Was it? I forget which direction it was, but either them coming back to the States to wrestle in AEW or them going into Japan. They got there like an hour before the show or
Oh,
something like that. Because
I think it was Cash that just barely got there.
that was both, to be honest.
I remember them saying it was Cash, but maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, I just remember that like that was on the pre-show they had like the Inoki tribute matches, and one was like Makabe and Tiger Mask. It's like totally fucked up a finish, and then I swear after the Carl Anderson Tamatanga match, like somebody bet Carl Anderson that he couldn't fuck up a finish worse, and he just had to prove them wrong.
Um,
And I love the Good
well,
Brothers, by the way. I'm not shitting on them, but that was a bad finish.
technically, you're not shitting on both Good Brothers. You're just shitting on Carl Anderson.
Shitting on that finish.
Um, Carl Anderson was one of those guys like, when I was starting my New Japan fandom, that's when he was shooting a fake machine gun at the big screen.
Yeah.
That was always great. Apparently we have new WWE Tag Team Champions.
I saw
Um,
that.
A AJ Styles and Dragon Lee.
It's a cool team.
And if you could guess who the champions used to be, I'd be shocked because I think I follow WWE more than you do, and that's not saying much. And I had no idea the team they beat were the tag team champions.
I only know because I just read it right before we started recording.
How many guesses would you have needed if you didn't see that?
Ah, I probably would have got it in 3 or 5 because it's one of the tag teams that's been on Raw for the last like 5 years or whatever.
That's to be fair. Like, there's only going to be so many damn teams there. But Finn Balor and JD McDonough, in case you're listening to this and have no idea who the hell it was either.
The Bray County Wicklow Ireland brothers.
Yeah. Um. Oh my God. They're doing a World Heavyweight Title number one contenders battle royal, and I assume, even though the person on Twitter hasn't specified this, I assume the winner takes on Punk at some point, and they just had the graphic on it, and I'm like, And they're like, who do you think wins the match? And I'm like, I don't know. Who the hell's the bald guy in the upper left-hand corner? Probably them. Apparently, the bald guy in the upper left-hand corner is fucking Rusev. Looks nothing like Rusev.
Huh. Yeah, that's the Redeemer was like so cool, and then I don't know. I guess he was trying to big league. He's one of the ones that has been rumored to have tried to big league during his AEW run, and if that is true, he ruined a very good thing. And if
Yes.
taking him off of TV was not his doing, that was also someone else dropping a ball.
I mean, apparently he got injured at some point and yada, yada, yada. I'm still disappointed we never got a rematch with him and Powerhouse Hobbs. Although it's one of those things that, would the rematch have been as good as the original match?
Because that has got to. I'm sure there's stuff I'm forgetting, but in like recent memory of like the last several years, I can't think of a match that exceeded expectations to that degree.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's why. I think that's why a rematch may not have been as great because, like, I'll be honest, I had low expectations for that match.
But
And that absurdly exceeded expectations, I thought.
that was the Big E special, big meaty men slapping meat.
Yes. Well, we might as well get to like the exact opposite of big meaty men slapping meat. Uh, Mid-South Wrestling from 16 days before the day I was born. October 13th, 1984. Let's go to the intro with the A announce team, A plus announce team. Boyd Pierce and Joel Watts. All-time legendary team right here, folks. Let's go to that intro now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the exciting Mid-South Wrestling and Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we do have exciting action. The Rock and Roll Express, the new Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson are here. Also, the sensational Master G in a battle against the highly ranked Jake the Snake Roberts. Magnum TA defends the North American Heavyweight title against Skandar Akbar's Big Killer Khan. Hacksaw Jim Dugan is here, Terry Taylor, and from Europe, it'll be gentleman Chris Adams and his partner against the Midnight Express. It all adds up to a lot of excitement. And not only that, but the man who has proved that he has the background, he's proved to us that he is very knowledgeable. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, he's the finest young commentator in professional wrestling. We have him this week as our guest, Joel Watts.
Well, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Boyd Pierce. And last week, Jim Cornette issued an ultimatum to Mid-South Wrestling, specifically to my father, saying that if he didn't receive a public apology on television and receive his $30,000 fine back, that he would take the Mid-South Tag Team titles and leave Mid-South. Well, my father and Jim Ross are in the ring right now to answer that ultimatum. Let's go to the ring right now.
All right. We'll get to this a little bit later, but what the hell got into Boyd this week? He is he's a little bit special this week.
Well, look at what they put him through this week. He had to deal with Joel Watts and Adrian Street.
Well, at least half of that was great.
Who is Boyd trying to convince that Joel is good? Like us or him? Like he's trying to convince himself just to get through it.
I think a little bit of both. I think it's like Bill's like, hey, I need you to carry my boy through this commentary. Could you help him out a bit? And so Boyd is overdoing it.
Joel is good at other aspects of his job. Why does he need to be a TV announcer?
Because Bill is a TV announcer and Bill is a star. Why did Eric have to get pushed so hard from the start? Like, Eric did not come in as a TV enhancement talent, losing in 3 minutes to Rick Rude on TV.
He should have.
Agreed, but still. Apparently, Boyd, if he was still with us, Boyd would have turned 97 yesterday. And so in tribute, we all had to glare at Jim Cornette recently.
Indeed.
Although none of us have the fine accoutrements that Boyd Pierce wore.
I wish I I wish I had that kind of sartorial swag that Boyd Pierce had.
So this week we had some big news here as we just jumped over it. The Rock and Roll Express are the new Mid-South Tag Team Champions. It's like, well, I guess that takes care of the whole ultimatum that the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette put on, which, by the way, despite what Joel Watts said, Jim Cornette did not issue the ultimatum last week. He issued it 2 weeks ago.
There's no differentiation between a week and a fortnight on Mid-South Wrestling.
No, but usually there's no difference between that into the future. In the past, we usually have that down.
Yeah. Well, the title change was October 1st in New Orleans, if anybody's keeping track.
We knew you would be, and we appreciate that. Was that the same show as the Ghetto Street fight that we'll see later?
I think so, and I looked back to see that, and I don't remember, but probably.
Well, this week we're also going to get Master G versus the highly ranked Jake Roberts, Magnum TA versus Killer Khan for the North American title, and my favorite match announcement, the Midnight Express versus Chris Adams and his partner.
Yes.
Even they were too embarrassed to say who his partner was.
Did you notice that the partner had a new name?
I wrote, "Who the hell is this man?" I believe. We'll get to that later.
It's funny. I was trying to look up the question that you had just asked me. So I was trying to search Bobby Eaton on Cage Match, and I got my wires crossed and wrote Bobby Horton.
What came up under Bobby Horton?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I was really hoping Bobby Horton was like a star in Kansas City or something.
Bobby Horton, here's a who?
Everybody was a star in Kansas City.
What if Jim Horton teamed up with Jim Neidhart and they became Horton, here's a who?
That would pop like 4 people, and we're 2 of them.
Yes.
So let's go now to Bill Watts and Jim Ross, who are in the ring, because despite the fact that the Midnight Express have lost the tag team titles, they still feel the need to respond to the ultimatum and go from there. Let's go to Boyd. Let's go to Bill and Jim.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago, after Jim Cornette was fined $30,000 for the altercation that happened here on Mid-South Wrestling, he made a statement. And in that statement was an ultimatum directed directly to the president of Mid-South, Cowboy Bill Watts. That ultimatum basically said that in 2 weeks, he wanted a statement from Cowboy Bill Watts. He wanted that $30,000 fine rescinded. He wanted a public apology. Last week, we heard him back here again, saying that Mid-South had 1 more week to do what he asked, or he was going to take the Mid-South Tag Team Champions and the belts and leave the area. Well, Cowboy Bill Watts has never backed down from any ultimatum. And Bill, at this time, I know you want to make this statement.
Well, that's right. Jim Cornette tried to pressure Mid-South, and of course we felt the fine was justified. It was the largest fine in history. And after all, he said that a fine like that is no more to his mother than overdue books checked out of the library, so apparently it didn't hurt her pocketbook, but it certainly made a statement about what Mid-South feels about it. And I want to say one thing, Cornette, you have a lot of leverage with the Mid-South Tag Team titles, but we'd already made our decision that we were standing by the fine. We're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to back down by anybody. Life is just too short to live under that kind of pressure. However, also fate entered in, and something wonderful happened. Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express are no longer the Mid-South Tag Champions. Let's welcome back the Mid-South Tag Champions, the Rock and Roll Express.
Okay. So, as we kind of expected, the Midnight Express lost the tag team titles. But I don't know about you, because I guess I didn't really look ahead to see I thought the Midnight Express were done. I thought this was kind of the angle that we're going to write them off TV one way or the other here. And it turns out, no, they're here till December.
This is their penultimate TV match. If my
okay,
my research was correct.
I guess that could be it because I didn't really look too deep into it. I just saw they were here till December.
Yeah, they are in the territory until December, but they have one other TV match after this. But I was also, why the fuck are they here?
Yeah. I kind of figured that this was it. And at the very least, I figured it would lead to a TV title match where this week would come, Bill Watts would refuse the ultimatum. Cornette would threaten to walk, and that's where they'd bring in the Rock and Roll Express or whomever to beat them on TV here for the tag belts. But instead, the Rock and Rolls just beat them in New Orleans, as you said, on October 1st.
Yeah, and that was the same as the same show as the Ghetto fight that we will see later.
I always love Bill Watts was a big fan of using the word ghetto to describe things regarding the black wrestlers. Because like at a Clash of the Champions during the Bill Watts era, they have a handicap match that instead of just calling a handicap match, they called it a ghetto odds match. And it was Ron Simmons and the debuting Too Cold Scorpio.
Yeah, a ghetto odds match. Is that like?
Yeah.
So were they teaming or what? What was what were the odds in the match?
Yes, it was Ron Simmons, and he was supposed to be teaming with a different black guy who I don't recall against Cactus Jack, the Ball Bearing, and Tony Atlas.
Bob Miri.
And yes, and the other black guy got injured and had to be replaced by a mystery partner who was Too Cold Scorpio.
Huh.
Debuting Too Cold Scorpio.
How about that?
Yes. So speaking of things that can be described as how about that, the tag team champions, the Rock and Roll Express, took on Bad Bob Owens and Terry Ellis. And my first comment was, did he used to be Big Bob Owens? Did they change his nickname?
No, he's been Bad Bob Owens for a while. He may have been Big Bob Owens, but he's been called Bad Bob Owens before. My first thought was, why is Terry Ellis wearing French flag trunks?
Maybe he's French. Maybe Adrian got him booked in one of the European territories after Adrian left and abdicated the title.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Yes.
Hadn't thought of that.
So according to Joel, Morton used kind of a Russian arm salto to Terry Ellis. The rest of us normal people call it a hip toss. Gibson pinned Ellis with a double drop kick. Owens is so bad he wasn't even able to get in the ring to break it up. He started to get in the ring and then he couldn't.
That's why they call him Bad Bob Owens, because he's bad at wrestling.
It was not because he was a badass. It was because he was not very good.
Well, he is both bad and an ass. I apologize to Mr. Bob Owens. I don't know what he was like as a person. That was just a funny thing that Kurt Angle said to The Undertaker one time.
I do not remember that.
Yeah, it was during their feud in like 2000 that he said the American Badass because you're both bad and an ass.
Wow.
My favorite. I think it was at Fully Loaded that Kurt Angle, like, I don't know, spilled milk on the Undertaker's motorcycle or whatever they did, and the Undertaker was chasing him through the back, and Kurt yells, "I'm sorry," and Undertaker goes, "Yeah, you're gonna be real sorry when I catch your little ass."
I still say, like, one of the greatest finishes of all time was that first time they used Eric Angle. Honestly, both times the times they used Eric, that was a tremendous finish.
It was a great finish, yes.
Yeah. Like, Kurt goes under the ring, Undertaker pulls him out. I think he gives him the last ride, makes a cover, and is like, wait, that's not Kurt Angle. And
Yeah.
Kurt came sneaking up behind and pinned the Undertaker.
That was a great finish.
Yes. Poor Eric. If you ever want to beat the hell out of Kurt Angle, bring in Eric.
Did Eric die,
still
or
with
did
us?
I believe I thought that he passed away. Apparently not. Apparently, Eric Angle is still alive. He's 58 years young.
I know
I don't know.
One of Kurt's brothers died. I know.
Yeah, he had like 5 brothers or something.
Yeah. In fact, there's also one of Eric's brothers too, if we're going to be technical.
Yeah, I guess that's how that works.
Yes. So from here, JR pitches it to a ghetto street fight with Butch Reed and Master G. Bill Watts is doing commentary on this house show match, and like the first thing out of his mouth was that Master G being whipped on TV by Buddy Landel infuriated a lot of the brothers.
I'm glad that I shut that out.
The finish of this match, I had to go back and rewatch it because I'm like, I missed something here.
So did I.
The finish of the match. Butch Reed went for a pile driver. Master G blocked the pile driver. Butch Reed fell down. And Master G won with a punch to the face.
A falling punch to the face.
Is that better or worse than renaming the Fuller leg lock the Master Lock?
Yeah, I was confused. That was not a full Nelson. That was indeed a Fuller leg lock.
So yes, after the match, Reed attacked Master G, and like you do in a real fight, Butch Reed ascended to the middle rope to come off with a knee drop that he then missed, and so Master G put him in the Master Lock. This is like when Stevie Richards talked on one of the Bite Thises about how Chris Masters injured his knee, and they were like, "Oh, I thought Chris Masters injured you when he gave you the Polish hammer." I was like, "Oh, that was the Polish hammer to the knee, apparently." So
that the Polish hammer to the knee that broke Stevie's nose.
Yes, moved Stevie's nose onto the other side of his face. We should. I
always really liked Stevie Richards as a wrestler, but God, he's dumb.
Why do you say he's dumb?
Because I've watched his YouTube channel.
I'll be honest. I kind of pick and choose what I listen to. What is there anything specifically that you're saying he's dumb about?
I would need to go back through it and do an annotated bibliography. Just go and watch and you'll see.
Okay. Go and watch some Stevie Richards videos on YouTube. I don't usually find him dumb, but you may.
I'm not saying he's always dumb. He does have some insightful things, but he also has I used to be a wrestler, so I'm a genius, and he's fucking not.
Okay. All right. So from there, Butch Reed is standing in the ring, and JR is going to pitch it. Instead of immediately interviewing Butch Reed, we're going to go to Butch Reed in the hospital after surgery. And I don't know if you've ever had surgery, ladies and gentlemen, but after you've had surgery, the best idea is to not stick a camera and a microphone in your face. Joel Watts did not get that message. Let's go to this now.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a result of that injury that Hacksaw Butch Reed sustained at the hands of that Master Lock on Friday, October the 5th in St. Francis Hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Hacksaw Butch Reed had arthroscopic knee surgery by Dr. Bruce Stivers of the Eastern Oklahoma Orthopedics Association. I was there, Joel Watts was there at the hospital with a camera. Here's what Hacksaw Butch Reed had to say after he came out of surgery.
Master G, you look at Butch Reed and you have your real good laugh, but you understand one thing, sucker. I will get the last laugh. Right here, my knee is messed up behind your dirty work. But you know what, sucker? It takes more than a bum me to mess me up, because I'm probably the only guy in history that had surgery one morning and that same evening goes to the gym and work out. That's where I'm on my way to now. I'm all drugged up. I'm a little bit groggy right now, Master G. But when we tangle, brother, let me tell you something. I won't be on no drugs then, but you'll think I'm on something. But I'm not going to be on nothing. The only thing I'm going to be on your, you know what. So you get ready for Butch Reed, because I'm coming back. As a matter of fact, you even done me a favor, sucker. And I'm going to be even better than ever. So you get ready for Hacksaw Butch Reed, because Mid-South is my domain. It's my backyard. I pay the cost to be the boss. And one thing for all, I am your master boy. And the master blaster is coming to take what it is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the evolution, what has transpired thus far, the altercation, the hospitalization, the surgery. At this time, I know you have a statement to make.
That's right. You know, Butch Reed is the best. And when he needs the best are going to work for him, he goes gets the best. Look at here. I'm walking, and I'm showing up talking, and I'm talking to you, Master G. Boy, I'm the only man alive to get surgery one morning, then go to the gym and pump out like a maniac that evening, because I'm working out, boy. But Butch Reed is back in the gym, and he's live, and you didn't do nothing but me a favor like I told you before, boy. And I'm coming after you. You think you done something now, sucker? You think you done something now, but you didn't do nothing but just help me put more of a devil on your raggedy nappy head, boy. So when I get back right, you look out for this pretty face right here, sucker, because it's going to be all in yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard those comments from Hacksaw Butch Reed.
Do you think Oral Link and Bill and Joel and everybody else who puts the show together, were they aware that they did not have to air that interview with Butch Reed after surgery?
First I said, he's standing right there, just fucking let him talk. And then they let him talk, so I really don't know why the fuck they, I don't know. I got some of the words, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, so apparently he had knee surgery. I'm sure it was like an orthoscopic knee surgery. And after surgery, he said he was going to the gym. Then we went to the ring, where he said that after he had surgery, he went to the gym. Okay, great then. You know, he was not groggy nor drugged up when he cut his promo in the ring. Or if he was drugged up, he was not drugged up with the same drugs he was during his surgery.
Now, was he groggy? Was he groggy and drugged up when he went to the gym?
I mean, if he went right after that goddamn surgery, I bet he was.
It's probably a good time to go to the gym.
Might be. I hope Jim and Joel gave him a ride to the fucking gym, you know, and they didn't let him drive like that.
Hopefully.
Or maybe Buddy came by to give him a ride to the gym, because, you know, I know they're announcers and not wrestlers, but technically Jim and Joel I would classify as baby faces, so they probably shouldn't be driving Butch Reed to the gym.
Okay. I guess the announcers are baby faces.
Oh well. Anyway, he to prove how good his knee was, he flexed his biceps at us. I mean, if his knee is any indication, or his biceps are any indication, his knee's doing pretty well.
I was convinced.
So we suddenly get a new WWE Network show broke out here tonight on WrestleMania Pre-Wind.
You stole that from me. I mean,
yes.
you stole the concept from me and made it a different thing. Good enough.
Yes. It was Master G versus Jake Roberts, which who would have thought that you know, they would book this match in Mid-South. Master G, as we've noted before, goes on to become George Wells and goes on to do a job to Jake in like 3 minutes in the New York portion of WrestleMania 2. And then Jake puts a snake on him and he spits up some Alka-Seltzer there in the ring. And I gotta say, Trey, booking his and his daughter's son against Master G is the worst thing Grizzly Smith has ever done this week.
I don't think that the young woman was his daughter. Was it? Oh well, it was
I thought it was his daughter that he raped her or something.
No, it was the 13-year-old daughter of the woman that he was seeing.
Oh, I thought it was his daughter too.
I don't believe that that's the case. You can take 0.0001% off of the Grizzly Smith as a fucking scumbag if you want, I guess.
Okay. If Trey is correct, I apologize to Grizzly Smith for insinuating you fucked your daughter.
Well,
you
it
fucked
never.
Your stepdaughter.
I'm not gonna. You saw the dark side of the ring. I don't need to.
Yeah. G debuted some colorful tights this week. They were all neon-y and like if you ever took a school photo, when in the 90s, that background were the tights that Master G was wearing this week. G would win with the Master Lock. They would go on to have a best-of-5 series in the WWF where Jake won all 5 matches.
Well, sometimes you come across someone early in your career and they get the better of you, and then I was just I was just watching the Yuji Nagata, his annual Blue Justice show that had the final Nagata Tanahashi singles match, and I believe their Nagata won, I think, their first 10 singles matches, and then their final head-to-head record ended up being 18-10.
Or no, Tanahashi won the next
wait,
18.
No, I did it wrong. It was Nagata won the first 8, and it ended up being 10-8. So it was 18 total.
So was Tana winning the next 10?
I think so. I may be wrong. It started off with Nagata being very ahead, and then Tanahashi ran away with it. I don't know that they may have traded 1 or 2 in there.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
okay.
But has Jake been on here before? Like before? I don't think he's been on since I started. Was he on here before that?
Who?
Jake on Mid-South.
Oh, I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. No, I'm pretty sure this was his Mid-South debut.
By the way, in World Class, Jake is from Louisiana, and in Mid-South, he's from Texas.
Now, he's the pride of Montague County.
You know that there's overlap in the TV markets, and you know that people are trading tape. This kind of dumb shit exposes the business as much as the kind of shit they get stupid about. Right?
See,
Is it just me?
I was thinking it was like an inside joke that, in Texas he's from Louisiana, so in Louisiana he's from Texas.
Jake was born in Gainesville, Texas, which is the site of the greatest mass hanging in United States history. In 1862, when a bunch of dirty Confederate traitors murdered a bunch of good Union men.
See, and I know this isn't the case because I remember his 92 WCW run, but, in New York, he was built from Stone Mountain, Georgia, so I assumed in Atlanta he's built from, like Albany, New York or something.
And Stone Mountain, Georgia is the site of a monument that has like Jefferson Davis and Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson carved into the fucking mountain. So Jake just can't win with these fucking kayfabe hometowns, or the real or kayfabe hometowns.
And to the best of my knowledge, Albany, New York has nothing to do with the Confederacy. Does it?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
I've been to Albany a few times. It's a very nice city.
I've not been to Albany. I've been to my only New York experience was I I flew into LaGuardia and took a shuttle to Grand Central Station and took the train up to West Point.
Okay. Okay. I was born in Stony Brook, so I'm like, and like I've lived on both sides of New York, so it's like I've been to New York a time or two.
I was
The
born
only
in the
time I've been to
backwoods of Arkansas.
the only time I've been to Texas was to Dallas, so I mean, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so from here we're scheduled. We go to a match with the North American champion Magnum TA, who's now been on the show like 3 weeks in a row, which is a record, versus Killer Khan, whose name is misspelled, but that's standard operating procedure for Mid-South. And in Killer Khan's corner is General Skandor Akbar. Now, Magnum TA is about to cut a promo. And Trey, I'm going to re-listen to this for the first time since I listened to it the first time. And maybe I just like was half paying attention because I was yawning a bit. Maybe I didn't quite get the gist of it.
Okay. Before we play it, can I tell you what my understanding was, and then we can both see?
I got a feeling we had the same understanding, but sure.
Okay, if I understood this correct, Ernie Ladd called Magnum TA's house to tell him that he's the one who's been spreading rumors about him, saying something about the black wrestlers.
See, what I heard was that Ernie Ladd somehow got his phone number and called him to tell him that Magnum TA is telling people that Mid-South brings in black wrestlers.
Okay, well, let's find out.
Let's go to this Magnum TA promo. And hopefully we both figure out what the hell he's actually saying.
Excuse me, I've got something I gotta say. Something I want to say to you and all the people out there. I don't know how it happened, but somehow that low-down Ernie Ladd got my phone number and he called my house. Ernie Ladd called my house and he said that he had heard that I said the people of Mid-South had always given sanctuary to the black athletes here. People like JYD, people like Master G, people like Brickhouse Brown. Well, I got to checking around with some of my friends and come to find out it's Ernie Ladd, the man that's spreading that rumor. Well, let me tell you something, Big Ernie Ladd. I, of all people, should know that Mid-South has got to be the fairest company in the land. I was the first man here to get tarred and feathered. I was the first man here to get strapped. And nobody has ever done anything but give everyone a fair shake here. All those people are my friends. Ernie Ladd, don't be calling my house. I don't want to hear anything you got to say. And quit spreading rumors about me.
Okay. Are we any more clear now than we were before listening to that again?
I am not. I gathered. I got the exact same thing I got the first time. I don't know.
And I got the exact same thing I did the first time, that Mid-South brings in black wrestlers. And Ernie Ladd is spreading rumors that Magnum TA said that.
I'll say that Mid-South brings in black wrestlers. Is the ghost of Ernie Ladd going to call my house? That'd be cool. I hope he'd call me and go, "Do I look like a bum, Sika? Fat Trey?
Do I look like a bum, Sika, to you, Trey? I don't go around calling Magnum TA and telling them that Mid-South brings in black wrestlers." The thing, because they don't bring it up again. I am thinking, and I don't know what the hell the gist of this was, I'm thinking Magnum TA did not properly say what he was supposed to say here. Because, like, what the hell? It's like, I'm so mad Ernie Ladd says that I say that Mid-South brings in black wrestlers. Like,
well, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it'll come up again. It'll probably never come up again.
I mean, it's Mid-South, not, modern day wrestling, so I'm thinking that it'll at least bring it up a second time. Maybe they're... Because then Magnum TA is like, "Oh, I got tarred and feathered. I got whipped." I'm like, so is this supposed to be like Magnum TA speaking negatively about black wrestlers being brought in? And he's saying, oh, look, all these things that happen to black wrestlers happen to me.
I don't know. I can't figure out any more than you can.
All right. Well, the North American title belt, I think it's getting bigger every week. That fucking thing, like, WWE just had the Crown Jewel show where they gave away the gaudy ass Crown Jewel title. I'm confident this fucking belt is bigger than that fucking belt. Like, this thing, like, and it's funny because, like, the way TA was holding it, like, the side plate was, like, in front of his shoulder, like you would normally the middle plate. And, like, the side plate was big enough to be its own fucking, main plate of a title belt.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So at one point here, TA shoots Khan off the ropes and ducked for a backdrop, and time stood still as Khan kind of ran into him. The crowd booed this blatant botch spot, which tells you how bad it is, because we have jobbers botching spots left and right on these shows, and the crowd never, turns on anything like that. So Khan got on the Oriental Spike, but you see, Magnum TA is not a pussy like George Weingroff's penis. Magnum TA stood up while in the Oriental Spike and broke the hold. And then King Carl Fergie, who apparently has never seen a wrestling move in his life, was standing right behind TA and Khan as TA gave Khan the belly-to-belly suplex. So Khan knocked Fergie the fuck out. And then Akbar got in the ring, and we got a DQ when Fergie eventually woke up, and TA sent Khan running away with a drop kick. The drop kick has apparently become the #1 move of babyfaces in Mid-South.
I'm still hung up on George Weingroff's penis being a pussy.
Only podcast out there that will call George Weingroff's penis a pussy.
I don't know. I have so many questions that I don't guess I know enough about things. I don't know
about George Weingroff's penis.
Who doesn't want to know more about George Weingroff's penis?
I think everyone wants to know more about George Weingroff's penis.
Well, this is the podcast for them.
Yes. In fact, I assume that's why last week's show had higher listenership than usual, because people wanted to hear us talk about George Weingroff's penis.
Obviously. What else would it be?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. But TA gets the win, and World Class goes to 0 for 2 on this week's show. From here, we go to Jim Duggan versus Russian Assassin #2. And Jim Duggan has stormed to the ring with a bag. Let's go to Jim Ross, who's going to interview Jim Duggan about the bag.
Wait a minute. What Hacksaw Duggan has got here in this bag is a little personality change. A little Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Something special for someone that I know real well. Once I put this thing on, you get a whole different perspective of life, looking at it through a cage. So let me tell you something, William. You've been down here swatting people up alongside that head. Magnum TA for one, Terry Taylor for two. How big, how tough, and how rough you are. Well, old Hacksaw Duggan went and dug out his old duffel bag, threw out a few mothballs, and I got my helmet, baby. I got my old cage on my head. So if you think you're so tough, if you think you're so rough, come on down and get it, tough guy.
Well, Joel, now you heard the statement.
All right. So Jim Duggan had a bag, and inside was Rey Mysterio's mask. Wait, that was a different bag angle. This was Hacksaw Jim Duggan's helmet. And apparently he is now the Hacksaw Jim Duggan helmet holder. And he challenged Doc to a match for his helmet. And he talked about how he had to pull out his duffel bag and get a few mothballs out of that bag. And And apparently we're going to build to a helmet versus helmet match.
We need to unify some of these helmets.
Yes. I do ask this serious question here because, like, in order to win the Dr. Death helmet and become the Dr. Death helmet holder, it's not that you have to beat Dr. Death, it's that you have to get his helmet. And by the way, Jim Duggan was putting his helmet on the post. It looks like that's the way you get Jim Duggan's helmet, is not necessarily by pinning Jim Duggan, but by grabbing his helmet. So what happens if they grab each other's helmet? And by the way, I was only half making that a sexual reference there until about halfway through that conversation.
I think that's called a Dutch rudder.
A Dutch rudder?
Or if they grabbed each other's, it would be a double Dutch rudder. Have you ever seen Zack and Miri make a porno?
I think I have, but like I watched it once.
It's a fucking tremendous movie.
I may have to watch it again. By the way, Russian Assassin number 2, and I made the joke earlier, it's Jack Victory, the man of 1,000 masks.
This is he was 20 years old here, and this is the earliest recorded Jack Victory match on Cage Match. Now it's funny, if you check his Wikipedia page, it says that his debut match was the match he's going to have next week. And that's because whoever updated the Wikipedia article doesn't know that on Cage Match, when somebody has like multiple matches from the same show in the match list, they appear in the wrong order.
It's like they didn't look at the episode number of the TV show, which will tell you which one is which. But nope, we can't have that. I wrote exactly 5 words about this match. Dugan won with the spear.
I think you wrote more than I did, except I wrote the thing about Jack Victory and the finish and the football helmet.
So yeah, Jack Victory, who it was a running joke in 1989 WCW that like any time there was a masked jobber on TV, it was Jack Victory under a different name. And yeah. And one of his gimmicks was Russian Assassin number 2, and I'm sure he was called Super Invader at some point, and all this other wacky horse shit.
And if you need somebody to be in a loser leaves town match and for some reason not lose, he's your man.
You could have him wrestle in 5 loser leaves town matches on the same show. You could really pop a house that way. Like, for the first time in wrestling history, we're going to have 5 loser leaves town matches. But like the next week, you're only missing 1 wrestler.
But then next week you get the Russian Assassin number 3.
Just add a new number at the end of every one of them.
Yeah.
All right, so we go to commercial. We come back from commercial, and thank the Lord, Joel Watts has been replaced again this week. I could get used to this gimmick where every week Joel Watts gets replaced by Adrian Street.
I guess be down with that happening full time.
Yes. Let's go to Boyd, who is about to lecture Adrian Street. This is when I was like, man, something got into Boyd this week.
Wrestling fans, we're back here at the Mid-South television table with exotic Adrian Street, the new Mid-South television championship. I witnessed something last week that I've never seen before in my life, and something that I never expected that I would ever see. And I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Adrian Street. I've been in professional wrestling and with Mid-South before it ever started from its inception. But I was always under the opinion that professional wrestling is a sport of kings. Professional wrestling is a sport of men. But last week, you literally kissed that title away from Terry Taylor.
Sport of kings, did you say? Well, Queen rules in England, my dear. And, some things are better done with a kiss.
And we're going to join the last few minutes of that title match last week and see just what happened. I'm excited.
Yes, so...
Joel Boyd, you can't see him, but he bends over, he leans over onto the desk like, I'm excited.
The Boyd is the best.
Boyd is the best. He's been with Mid South since before Mid South started, and I get what he meant, but it's just kind of funny the way he said that.
I mean, didn't we watch like the Mid South before it was Mid South and Boyd was on there?
Yeah. It was the NWA Tri-State show. So
Yeah.
technically, yes, he's been with Mid South since before Mid South, but just when you say it that way, it sounds like you're cray cray.
We had a run in. I heard a whimpering at my door, and it was Astro Peach wanting in. And then he has now come, and he's been doing it, lady. He crawls into my arms, and he turns around and like lays upside down like a baby, and just looks up at me.
Aw. See, we're talking about Boyd Pierce. So I'm like, did Boyd Pierce come to your door and want to be let in?
I bet Astro Peach is Boyd Pierce reincarnated.
I mean, he always shows up during the show when we're, so I have no reason to believe that he's not. All right. So we then go to our next match, which is Terry Taylor, who is a little bitch, a stooge, and a degens, versus Dale VC. Thank God he lost the medal because his name is getting way too long. And then, professional wrestling, your finish is protected. You don't if somebody new comes into the territory and uses a move that you use as like a setup move as a finish, you stop using that move because that's another guy's finish. You have to respect that and just let them do the finish. Well, Terry Taylor, who is a little bitch, a stooge, and a degen, stole Adrian Street's finish from last week, except that he forgot to kiss Dale VC first. So that's probably why Dale kicked out as a schoolboy.
Yeah, the kiss is the finishing move. It's just like how Undertaker's finishing move wasn't folding your arms over your chest. It was the tombstone pile driver that he did before that. You have to do the kiss for it to work.
I was gonna say, I figured it's not just the kiss. The schoolboy comes with it. Like you have to do the two things together.
Well, you can either young Toru Yano, who, as we've established, was a big Killer Khan fan, probably got a tape of this via tape trading, and it had last week's show on too. So he saw the Adrian Street finish and decided, I'm going to do that, but I'm just going to hit the guy in the balls first, and that also proved effective.
Yes, Toru Yano stealing from Adrian Street. Phrases that you thought you'd never hear before. And it's kind of like, during Bray Wyatt's sister Abigail. He has to kiss you in the head or it doesn't work the same.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was during this match, by the way, that Trey messaged me saying that Kevin Owens' fall from the WrestleMania sign was not the worst fall that anyone named Owens ever did in WWE.
Oh, why are you saying that was a between friends? I hope Dr. Martha Hart isn't listening this week.
I'm sure she will now, I'm sorry, Dr. Martha Hart, it's Trey. I try to reel him in, but he's a prevert, much like that Bruce Pritchard.
Diana looked like a whore.
If Dr. Martha Hart's listening, she just got so confused. If Dr. Martha Hart's listening, she's been confused the whole goddamn time, I like to think. But note to self, do not mention Dr. Martha Hart in this week's show description. I scrolled by my actual notes for this match. Terry Taylor won with a 5-arm and then pointed at Adrian, possibly because he wanted a victory kiss.
They announced Adrian versus Chris Adams next week, which that sounds fun.
Yes, it sounds like a great match between two wrestlers from Europe.
Indeed.
All right. So I'll be honest, this is where I got really, really confused in multiple ways. They announced that up next was going to be the Midnight Express versus Chris Adams and his partner. And we come back from commercial, and Jim Cornette's standing in the ring with Hercules and Dr. Death Steve Williams. I'm like, please tell me that they are not calling Hercules and Dr. Death the Midnight Express.
I actually was so confused that I like spaced back to make sure that it had said the Midnight Express.
Let's go to the intro. It's going to include a Dr. Death promo and then the intro.
I accept that challenge, brother. And when you bring your helmet down here, I'm going to take it away from you. I am the toughest man in Mid-South. Hector, I'm going to make that pony look like a jackass after I'm done with it. So come on! Come on, Hector!
Just give me that thing, Jim Ross. You know, a lot of people have been counting the Midnight Express out, saying we're in a slump and we won't recover. Well, that's when we're the most dangerous, Chris Adams. Just like a wild animal, when our back's to the wall, we always recover, and we will, to dominate tag team wrestling again. And one more thing, I've seen in the arenas, posters and pennants saying Rock and Roll Express and Cornette's a wimp. Well, I'm not a wimp, and these men are the only real Express, and if I see any more of those signs, I'll personally come out there, take them away, and rip them up in front of your face. Because these are the once and future Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Lean, mean, slick and quick. Loverboy Dennis and beautiful Bobby, the Midnight.
Yeah, you just assume he says Midnight Express, but yeah, the theme starts before he actually finishes the sentence. So Doc. I'm sorry. Did you not want an accompaniment?
Oh no, I was done.
Okay. So yeah, we have a Doc accept Dugan's challenge, and Cornette calls the Midnight Express the once and future tag team champions. And I don't want to be technical here, but technically, they're the twice and future tag team champions.
Touche.
Yes. Touchy back at you. So we mentioned earlier that there's going to be Chris Adams and his partner. Now, we've mentioned once or twice or 87 times on this show that his partner in World Class is Gino Hernandez. And for half a second, I was like, did they really have their first TV match on Mid-South and not World Class? That would just be tremendous. But nope, his partner was not Gino Hernandez, but Jim Horton, whomever the fuck that is.
It's the guy who was on here as Tim Horton a few weeks ago, so maybe somebody got a cease and desist from a Canadian coffee chain.
I'd like to think, though, like, because we've learned in the past from Bill, if you get the cease and desist, he comes on TV and whines about it. And then talks about how there's two Tim Hortons. And this one is a nice person. Not this coffee shop is a nice coffee shop, not confused with the other Tim Hortons that it is mean and steals from people. Also, and this probably tells you why Chris Adams got stuck with his partner. Chris Adams did not have Gary Hart here at ringside with him. So Gary is not...
Gary Hart would have never allowed this.
No, Gary Hart would not have signed a match with a bum like, Jim Horton. I admit I've got such low expectations for Joel that when he started talking about Chris Adams' brother, I was convinced that he was about to fuck up and say that Chris Adams' brother is a pro wrestler and all this shit. But no, he talked about Chris Adams' brother does judo. And since I cannot prove that Chris Adams' brother didn't do judo, I'm just going to assume that Joel did not fuck up for this.
What Bill Mercer talked about it on World Class a few weeks ago. Like, Chris Adams' brother was like a judo silver medalist in the '84 Olympics.
I do recall that, but it's Joel, so you just assume he's gonna fuck up everything he says. So I got disappointed that he didn't fuck something up here.
Stop clock is right twice a day.
Yep. After 2 to 3 minutes of the Midnight Express versus Chris Adams, which I don't want to alarm you, and I hope you're all sitting down for this, Bobby Eaton versus Chris Adams was a really good match.
I was shocked that Chris Adams mixing it up with Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton was good pro wrestling. It's like, I just wish there was some way they would have never done the Hill versus Hill thing, But imagine Bobby and Dennis against Chris and Gino.
Oh, that would have been fucking tremendous.
By the way, Bobby's mullet was fucking glorious. I guess it finally reached the magic length this week.
Glorious. No,
Well,
I won't give in. I won't give in till I'm victorious.
I was.
I still can't believe that song was written for Nakamura. That just doesn't even sound right.
Yeah, it's so weird. I was at the takeover where Rude beat Nakamura for the title, and that was a big singing night.
I bet. I was at the takeover where Bobby Roode was sitting in the crowd.
Yeah.
And like, oh my God, it's Bobby Roode. Nothing against Bobby Roode. That was like even though he was in TNA for like a decade, this is like the first time anyone's ever gone, oh my God, it's Bobby Roode.
I think I actually heard that theme before it was on TV because I went to a house show and the main event was like I think it was Finn and Shinsuke against Bobby Roode and maybe Samoa Joe. That sounds right. And I don't think he had been on TV with the song yet.
Maybe this is the one you were at, but I seem to remember it being played at like a music festival when NXT did a show at like a music festival or something.
Yeah, this wasn't that. This was the Aztec Theater in San Antonio.
That was not a music festival.
No.
So after 2 to 3 minutes of the Midnight Express versus Chris Adams, Jim Ross had to get onto the microphone and announce that the technical wrestling portion of this match was now over because Jim Horton tagged in and spent the rest of the match getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And then Midnight Express won with what was called the Ooh, which was the Dennis Condrey back suplex, Bobby Eaton middle rope elbow.
Like when you see that move, like you could, that's like the grandfather to the Vegematic. Like you could see where the train of thought went.
You can see Joel Watts' head going, ooh, and he could not come up with whatever weird technical name he could think of to describe that move.
I got nothing, but it was a cool move.
Yeah. It was not kind of a Russian arm salto, is what we're saying.
It was.
So Dr. Death, even though Dr. Death cut a promo accepting Jim Duggan's challenge, Dr. Death went to the announce desk to accept Jim Duggan's challenge. And the best part was he didn't even need a microphone. He's just screaming, and they're picking it up just fine.
So, yeah.
I'm not going to play, but yeah. But next week, apparently, they're going to wrestle, and apparently, we're allegedly going to get Ted DiBiase returning next week.
Oh.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes. After losing his Loser Leaves Town match a year ago, there was oh my God, I think it was Dick Slater in my most recent book, 40 Years of Pay-Per-View, Book 2, 1991 through 1993. He finishes the WCW run on like June 20th, 1991, and his next WCW booking is like June 22nd, 1992. And I'm like, maybe he got confused when he got his booking sheet.
Well, maybe maybe that last match was a loser leaves town for 1 year.
367 days, yeah. I was about to say something that would have made you mad, but I'm not going to say it now. See how much I like you? I'm purposely like stopping myself from saying something that I know will make you mad.
You're learning.
Or maybe one of these days I just have to say fuck it and just say it. So that does it for Mid-South. So we move to World Class. And man, oh man, Maddie, we have sometimes gone months of World Class without a single promo on the show. And the only bit of audio we play is the first 40 seconds where Bill Mercer intros the show and tells you what we're going to see. There is so much to play. I am not even going to air the 40-second intro. There's no main event this week, but we are going to get a world-class update on the now controversial Chris Adams.
I don't think there's ever been this much talking on one world-class show.
I think if we add up the rest of the year into World Class, we're not getting like all the talking we had on this week's World Class. And that includes the promo that I refuse to play.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're at World Class. After the intro, we go to commercial, we come back from commercial, and we now go to a special report on the now controversial Chris Adams. Now, when you hear that, you may think we're going to hear from the now controversial Chris Adams, but we're not.
That was what I assumed when they said it. Yeah. Stupid me.
Yes. Yes. The now controversial Chris Adams apparently has nothing to say at all this week, but instead we're going to hear from Horse Kevin Von Erich. And if you're thinking, oh man, Horse Kevin Von Erich for 6 minutes, don't worry, he's not really horse.
We're in the offices of World Class Championship Wrestling for a special report. Last week, one of the most astounding and perplexing incidents occurred in the history of World Class Championship Wrestling. It was a tag team event featuring Chris Adams and Kevin Von Erich against Jake the Snake Roberts and Gino Hernandez. The perplexing and astounding part was the fact that Chris Adams turned on Kevin Von Erich. Turned on him, left him to the wiles of the two opponents. With us today here in the offices of World Class Championship Wrestling is Kevin Von Erich. As I said, it's astounding and perplexing, but I know from talking to you, it has become now something of an anger boiling inside of you.
Yeah, Bill, I was shocked, just like everyone in the building. And the more I think about it, the madder I get.
What do you think occurred in the mind, in the character of Chris Adams?
Well, first of all, as you'll see in the tape later, Stella May came down and tripped Gino's leg as he picked Chris up for a slam. Now, I've never been in for women interfering in the matches anyway. But as it came about, he went down and rolled over on top of Chris Adams and pinned him 1, 2, 3, and that's degrading.
Yeah. A lot of ego.
Yeah, it is.
But one of the things that has bothered me for this association was Gary Hart's manager, advisor of Chris Adams. As it turned out, it seemed that Chris was running Gary Hart at the end of this match, as we'll see, but yeah. Gary Hart had to be a problem with the mind of Chris Adams.
Well, I think Gary probably started it all himself, but this is Chris Adams did this. It wasn't Gary. Okay. You know, Bill, like I said, I was shocked by what happened. But Chris came in, shoved Stella 2 or 3 times. I only saw him shove her once, but on the tape I saw it later. It was, I'm not going to stand by, you know, a lot of people love Chris Adams, and right. Great. But I did what I felt like was right. And if I had to do over again, I'd do exactly what I did.
All right, let's look at the tape now. We'll pick up the action, and we'll also be talking about what happened. You're going to see, right as we start, Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams on the floor. Now, Stella May comes up. You don't see her hand here, but she reaches underneath, trying to grab Gino.
Right there. And he comes over 1, 2, 3.
And Chris is beaten right there. Yeah. Now, Stella May is perplexed, of course, because she made a mistake.
I think he's embarrassed.
Yeah. So he attacks Stella May, a good friend, a protector.
It's his ego.
Now, Gary Hart has to come up with his 2 cents.
I'm telling him, keep your hands off her. You're not going to slap her. That's his first warning. 2 warnings I told him not to lay a hand on her. Chris told me to keep his hands off his manager and to let him slap her. And here's his 3rd warning.
And a shot. And as you turn around,
bam.
This is unbelievable right here. Now, this is one reason you have a
here I am a week later, I'm still hoarse.
Now, immediately the battle opens up with Gino coming in and Jake the Snake Roberts.
And look at him. They're looking at Chris Adams, expecting him to come help me. Look at that.
I think Gary was expecting it, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure he was. He's standing there. He's just standing there, dude.
And his gesture is, okay, if you want to leave, we'll leave.
That's it.
And Chris says, come on, right?
Chris said, come on, let's go. And Gary went with him. I couldn't believe that. It had to be just an ego, a spur of the moment. I can understand being just angry and being embarrassed, but then leaving me to the dogs like he did. I mean, I've put my life on the line for Chris, so to speak, a lot of times. He sure didn't return the favor there. He just left me.
He's always been a team player, and you've been associated so long, it would seem that even though he was angry at you, he would have enough character and respect to come to your aid at that time. This would seem that maybe he had this in mind all along, to make this break at some point.
Well, I don't know. All I know is that, you know, I was shocked, like you said. I couldn't believe what happened, but now Chris Adams knows me, and he knows that I'm not going to let this thing go. And I can't wait to get a shot at him.
Well, a little later on that week, there was to be another match. Now, that was to be Kevin Von Erich, Mike Von Erich, and Kevin in a six-man tag team with Gino Hernandez, Jake the Snake Roberts, and Grand Marcus, right?
Right.
And you couldn't wrestle, so they brought Buck
Yeah,
Zumhoff
the doctor,
in because of what?
Yeah. Well, the doctor said that I had a concussion, and the Boxing and Wrestling Commission says any brain concussion, well, you can't sign the contract. If you can't sign a contract, you can't compete, or you'll be suspended.
So Zumhoff took your place.
Right, but there was no power could have kept me out of the ring after what happened to me.
So now, Kevin, let's take a look at that tape, the six-man tag team, with the situation introduced and explained by Mark Lorenz.
Uh-oh, I see Gary Hart. Gary Hart is coming up the aisle. Chris Adams is with him, I don't believe it. Chris Adams is actually going to team with Gino and Jey. Oh no, what has happened? A full turnaround, what a shock.
This is the main event.
Well, that certainly was unbelievable. Here is Chris Adams introduced as the third member of the six-man tag team event.
Bill, that just blew me away. You know, you could have thought that Gary Hart could have put Chris up to the kick or something. That proves that was Chris Adams' own decision. Chris Adams has made his decision to I guess, choose money over integrity. I don't know what's in his mind. I don't have any idea what he's thinking.
Well, we don't know that, but let's go right along now and see what did happen as this bout progressed with Chris Adams battling two of the Von Erichs and Buck Zumhoff.
Okay. I don't even know where to go with this one here. We got our 6-minute promo with Kevin, and I'm starting to think that brain concussion was real because, man, oh man, did they not talk about what we saw. Because we're hearing that Kevin Von Erich had a brain concussion and was replaced by a sex predator, and suddenly we get sent to a video of such, but the video is of Chris Adams is coming up the aisle with Gary Hart to apparently replace Grand Marcus. What the hell happened to Grand Marcus, Trey?
I wish I knew. I hope he's all right.
Grand Marcus disappeared, and Chris Adams came out to replace him. And I guess to go back, because they reshowed what happened last week, as you heard, and Kevin is counting off like the warnings that he gave Gary Hart, and the third warning was to punch Gary Hart. I'm like, that is not much of a warning, Kevin. You know?
Look, he had 2 warnings already.
Yes. I mean, but I think like the story that they're telling here, and I think this is interesting, or it could be interesting moving forward, is that apparently Gary Hart is not necessarily having turned heel. Chris Adams has turned heel, and Gary Hart is his manager, but Gary Hart himself, he has not necessarily turned on the Von Erich.
Okay, I don't know.
Also, I think we need to appeal to the Texas Wrestling and Boxing Commission, because if Kevin Von Erich's not allowed to sign a contract due to his brain concussion, or else he'll be suspended if he gets in the ring to wrestle, shouldn't this count as him getting in the ring? I know he didn't technically wrestle, but he got in the ring and attacked the wrestlers in the ring. He should be suspended by the Texas Wrestling and Boxing Commission.
Sure.
I think.
Okay.
I think you're not even like. You're like so done with it. Trey can't even be brought back to life here with
let's hear from Jake. Let's hear from Jake the Snake Roberts in his surroundings.
I'm about to say we haven't even gotten that far yet. I might as well skip it. There's like another minute of Kevin Von Erich saying that he doesn't know what could happen if he fights with a concussion. Funnily enough, you know, not knowing what happens would be something that he wouldn't know is going on.
That's true. That's true.
Well, from now, let's go to a talk with the pride of Montague County, Texas, Jake the Snake Roberts, who I forgot since we're in World Class, he's no longer the pride of Montague County. He's now from Louisiana. Let's go to Bill Mercer, who's on location with Jake the Snake.
We came out to visit Jake the Snake Roberts in his environment, and see Jake is rather busy right now. Hey, Jake, what are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Fine, good to see you.
Hey, welcome to my world, huh?
This is something what different than where your partner Gino Hernandez lives.
Big thing, you know, it's like this, you know, he lives in his world, I live in mine, or ours. Thanks for my world.
You guys were very impressive in that tag team match last week with Kevin Von Erich and Chris Adams. Caused a lot of furor, a lot of excitement in that one.
Well, anytime you have a winning combination such as Gino and myself, and due to the things that happened, it just made it that much nicer, you know, Bill. And it's always good to be a winning part of the team because that's what it's all about, isn't it?
I guess it is. What puzzles me, though, is Gino lives in a high-rise penthouse and you live in an area something like this.
Nice.
How can you two get together mentally to work together?
What's wrong with this,
Well,
Bill?
nothing.
I mean, hey, you probably had something to do with all this. This might be your old car door here.
Could be, it could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, how about the difference in philosophies, difference in style?
Well, Gino, you know, he's always taking care of himself. I guess that's because he was born that with a proverbial silver spoon stuck in his mouth. Well, my person's just a little bit different, you know. I come out here and I look at all the trash and the filth and, hey, yeah, that's one of my friends over there, man. I look at all this, though, and I say, this is what life's all about, you know, because after all, we done it for each other. I didn't build this. This was here before I ever got here. Like my jacket, man?
It's very interesting.
Out of an old car, you know, I just scooped it up, man. It'll do warm. Yeah, it's kind of chilly today, so I had to throw it on. You know, I hadn't got my fall jacket yet. No, I haven't got it yet. But I think this will do till I get one. Let me shove that in there.
Everybody talks about the future and what you look forward to, what your goals are. Do you set any? Do you have anything like that in mind?
What is the future? Future is just that's a joke, man. It might be over 2 seconds from now. Somebody pushes a button and it's over. And you tell me why it's over, because you have made the choice to do with this world what has been done, not I. When I got here, Bill, the laws were already made. You done picked the way you wanted to go. So you see, I'm just going to crank back and enjoy what you've given me to live with. Whatever rules they might be.
You live by the rules?
Weren't rules made to be broken?
I suppose so.
Contracts were made to be broken. A piece of paper. You make a contract out with somebody, Bill, and all they're doing is inviting them to break it. What happened before when a man could shake your hand and say, well, his word's good? Word means nothing anymore. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you people. Don't come calling me a fool. Don't come calling me a sicko. Because, brother, if you look at yourself in the mirror, I think you'll find out one thing. You're no different than me if you tell yourself the truth. Too many people live in glass houses, you know that?
And throw bricks.
They sure do.
Right.
I'm the rock thrower today, though.
Thank you, Jake. Jake the Snake Roberts. We're here in his world on World Class Championship Wrestling.
Okay. So Jake Roberts cut a hell of a promo once he stopped talking about trash. And it's like, it's Jake Roberts. He's been able to talk since pre-day one. What the hell's this whole gimmick of him in a junkyard? I get that here in World Class, he's not the pride of Montague County, Texas. He lives in a junkyard in Louisiana. Did he take that jacket off a guy who was in a car crash and died or something? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
So, his friend that he pointed to was a dog, and so since that position is open, is that the new junkyard dog? I broke Arya.
If he comes out on Mid-South next week with that dog, That'll be the greatest thing we've ever seen in wrestling this week.
It would be. It would be.
Oh Lord. So I'm not sure how the man goes from being the pride of Montague County, Texas, when in Louisiana, to living in a junkyard in Louisiana when he's in Dallas. But Jake Roberts manages to pull it off. And apparently Bill Mercer gave him a car door too. That was nice of Bill, I thought.
Yeah. Close.
Any other thoughts on this promo?
Jake was a little something. He might have been the if you catch my drift.
Him and the Iron Sheik may have been sharing their medicine.
Yeah.
They tell you not to share your medication. It's on the bottle.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
By the way, on that last minute of a Kevin Von Erich promo we skipped, they announced that at the Cotton Bowl, we're going to have a 6-man tag team title match with Kevin, Kerry, and Mike versus Chris Adams and his 2 partners. Now, I assume his 2 partners are Gino and Jake, but they don't actually tell us who his 2 partners are.
Well, one of them could be Grand Marcos. Maybe he'll finally make it.
Yes. All right. So from here, we finally go to the ring for our first of 2 matches on World Class this week. It's a light week of World Class action this week. Jake the Snake Roberts versus Tony Torres. Jake won with the DDT.
Which Bill called a reverse bulldog, but then immediately after, Mark Lawrence announced Jake as winning with the DDT. So maybe Mercer will catch on in a couple of months.
Although, if drunk Mark Lawrence announces something, can you truly believe it? I mean, how long did this match really go versus how long did DML say it went?
Maybe that was how it got the name, that he just called it that.
Man, there you go. Drunk Mark Lawrence, a credit to the Wrestling Society. Who would have thunk it?
One of those D's must stand for Drunk Mark Lawrence.
I just like that one of the D's stands for Drunk Mark Lawrence. Okay.
I have an interesting update. I'm so enthralled by World Class that I opened Pro Wrestling Sim and was poking around. And there's been a pretty significant update, and it has an AI assistant now that you can connect to Google Gemini.
Well, they gasp.
Yeah.
Did you watch the promo that I skipped?
I did. It 2/3 because it was a one after the other. So like it was Kerry. Kerry talked about all anybody can talk about is Chris Adams being weird. So Kerry said a bit, and then Iceman said a bit, and then the part that nobody wanted to see happened, and I skipped forward.
Great. So from here we go to what I said was the main event. Former World Heavyweight Champion. No, wait a minute. Former America Heavyweight Champion, Mike Von Erich versus former Pacific Heavyweight Champion, Art Cruz.
Yeah.
Cruz with a Z.
Yeah.
I think I'm over.
I was almost, when you said talking about stuff on Mid-South being misspelled earlier. Poor Art Cruz has been on this show like a dozen times and spelled his name wrong here.
Maybe they misspelled it a dozen times on Mid-South. I mean, at least for all their faults, World Class usually spells people's names correctly.
Sometimes.
Although that was Bill Mercer who called Mike Von Erich a former World Heavyweight Champion. But know, if Fritz had his way, he'd be a future World Heavyweight Champion.
America, the world, what's the difference?
There you go. We can't be that far off from Mike having his toxic shock syndrome, can we? I mean, I thought it was it's at Texas Stadium when they bring in Lance, and that's in May. And I guess he can't have it now if if they don't bring Lance in until May. But I thought it was a little bit in advance.
When was the Israel tour?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, apparently that's not till August of '85. There's the toxic shock syndrome anyway. So I guess the shoulder injury must have been where he whatchamacallit, stops professional wrestling.
How far apart are Mark and Gino? The deaths. Are they both in '86?
You mean Mike and Gino?
Yeah, Mike and Gino. Yeah.
Mike's not until '87.
Okay.
And that's when not that I think like they would have drawn any better just calling the David Von Erich Parade of Champions, but that's when Fritz renames it the David and Mike Von Erich Parade of Champions, and it turns a lot of stomachs.
Yeah. Well, there's gonna be a lot of stomach turning in this territory.
Oh, this kind of I could. Okay, maybe because again, we're not really world class historians. We obviously are watching world class, but Mike wrestles until August of '85. Yeah, because the Israel tour is August of '85. So why? Because I thought Lance came in May because Mike got injured, which maybe not.
Well, you also thought that Mike didn't debut until after David died, and that wasn't the case either. So you're really not a world-class historian.
At least not a Mike Von Erich historian. You know?
You think there's a Mike Von Erich historian out there?
I think there has to be. I mean, there is somebody out there who is like getting all the merchandise they can of, Mike Von Erich and his illustrious 3-year career.
Yeah.
Let me see here. When does the Fabulous Lance debut in the territory? Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm really off. October of '85.
Okay. Well.
His first match is against Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight title. Now, there's always a chance it's cage match. They sometimes are missing, some shows and whatnot. But I imagine they're not missing 6 months worth of Lance Von Erich matches.
Yeah.
You know what? But yeah. Yeah, I think cage match. We need a Lance Von Erich historian because there's not a lot of Lance Von Erich stuff here either.
Well,
but I know. Sorry,
he has a book, doesn't he? We should read Lance by Chance.
Is that an actual book?
Yeah, isn't that what didn't he write a fucking book called Lance by Chance? Did I make that up?
If you made it up, we need to have we need to write that book ourselves.
Lance Wrestling Von Erich by Vinnie Barry, Lance Von and Vinnie Barry.
Oh yes, and you can buy it right now on Kindle for $9.99 or paperback for $17.95, or buy my book for $5.
And Kindle has a reward system now, so you can buy both, and they'll come back to help you later. It's funny, I'm a Kindle addict. I have hundreds of Kindle books, more than I'll ever get around to reading probably. But it's like they have a threshold that if you get like 300 points, you get like a $3 coupon. And I swear every time I get that, they put like something on my wish list on sale for $2.99.
There you go. So they announced during this match that we've just been talking about everything but this match, that on October 27th at 2 p.m. will be Star Wars, right in the middle of one of the biggest, brightest fairs in the world. And I'm not, a Star Wars historian either, but I didn't realize there was an episode that came out in October of 1984 in the Cotton Bowl.
My brain went off in such a different direction while you were talking, because when you said Star Wars historian, it made me think of, there's a line in a song. The song is called Fet's Bet by MC Chris, and it's a very funny song. But he has a line in there about Star Wars historians. And that song, the first place that I heard it was in Zack and Miri Make a Porno. So there's we just completed that loop that we started earlier.
We're just plugging Zack and Miri Makes a Porno over and over again on this show.
It's a really fucking good movie. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan.
So while Art Cruz was making his comeback, Bill Mercer was obsessed with his footwear because he suddenly exclaims, "What a sock!"
Sock it to me.
They fucked up a leapfrog something fierce, and Mike won with a knee to the throat.
Yeah, they did. That's what happened. This wasn't a terrible match until that part. I mean, that was like the worst part. It wasn't terrible.
Yep. And then another match happened. I think it was a standby match. I didn't watch it, Trey, and I'm assuming you didn't watch it either, but did you?
I did not, but I went to the end of the thing to just see if there was anything after, and I saw the finish of the match, and okay, I just have to comment on this because they announced the match at the beginning of the show that it was going to be Scott Hall Irwin and Bill Pig Irwin against King Parsons and the pedophile, and then just because I didn't watch the intros to the match the first time, but I had to go back and check because at the intro to the match, they never mentioned this being a title match, but the Irwins won and they're the new American Tag Team Champions, I guess. I
thought they'd won the American Tag titles like a few weeks ago.
No, I think they've been going back and forth, and then they won them again here. If anybody cares.
Okay. Well, so what we're saying is Phineas I and Henry O are the world-class tag team champions right now.
Yes.
Great. So that brings us to the end of World-Class Championship Wrestling. That was certainly a show. Any other final thoughts on that one?
No. That was
okay.
That was a show.
So I've been waiting for like an hour to mention this when we were last talking about Eric Angle, but according to the always reliable Wikipedia, when he went to OVW to train, he apparently tore a ligament in his arm, which I knew, but what I didn't know is he needed 9 surgeries to correct the problems with his arm.
Oh, yeah, I remember he had an injury and had a lot of trouble with it. I didn't.
999. Now, speaking of people that you've never thought of since the moment they left WWE, and you probably didn't think of while they were in WWE, Summer Rae was somehow in the news today.
You are in a mood about this.
Just like, and it's not even just her. She's not the only person who said something like this recently, but it's like I was just a little angsty today, and it's like I saw something that Summer Rae said she's gotten the itch to get back in the ring, and I'm sitting here like she's one of these people. Her entire career is she was in WWE. Like she's and please, if I don't mean to besmirch the name of Summer Rae in case I am not entirely accurate, but unless I'm mistaken, she's one of the models that Johnny Ace signed at some point with no wrestling history, with no wrestling knowledge, and her entire career has been a WWE sports entertainer. And she talked about she has the itch to get back into the ring. And I'm sitting there like, she left WWE at least 6 or 7 years ago at this point, probably more. Did I miss all of the indie shows that she's done? Did I miss her wrestling in front of 64 people somewhere? I'm pretty sure I haven't. She doesn't have an itch to get back into wrestling. She has an itch for fame and fortune, which is funny because if she had decided that, like when she left WWE, that she wanted to continue her career for whatever that was, like former WWE wrestler, especially the first year on the indies, you're going to make a decent check. Plus, you're going to have promoters pay for your trans and pay for your hotel room. And you end up making, you probably end up saving more than you do while in WWE because you have to obviously pay for your own shit in WWE. But yeah, that just really got on my nerves today.
Do you remember when she and Layla were a team?
No. Like I was thinking about her and Lana. They were on a team, but her and Lana, when like she was the new Lana with Rusev, and was wearing Lana business suits.
I just remember like one time I sent in I think SmackDown spoilers, and for some reason like Brian and Vinny like looked at them on the show, and I called the team Summer Lay, and Brian completely missed the joke because he's Brian.
Brian sometimes does not pick up on things like that.
Yeah.
Do you know the kayfabe reason how Summer Rae ended up wrestling? We talked about Carmella a few weeks ago, that Enzo Amore went to her hair salon and got her fired, and so Carmella forced him to train her to become a wrestler. And think about that for a minute. But do you know the kayfabe reason why Summer Rae began wrestling?
Didn't she debut as Fandango's dancing girl?
Nope, this was before that. This was in NXT. She was the NXT ring announcer. And Emma, and this is before, Emma got the gimmick change into a more serious Emma. This is when Emma was doing the dancing gimmick. She bumped into Summer Rae, the ring announcer, and this caused Summer Rae to get very angry and attacked Emma, and that's how she ended up becoming a wrestler.
Pretty fucking weird. You want to know something more interesting than that? I was just looking
Everything?
at the other shows on the Pro Wrestling Sim game, and on the most recent episode of UWF Fury Hour, we got a match between Nelson Knight, who we mentioned earlier, that Nelson Frazier, Viscera, Mabel, against the Great Sasuke, and I would give anything to see that match.
That? Wow. That sounds like a match.
It sure does.
Oh, Lord. So apparently Dave has gotten into a fight with more people on Twitter this week, and specifically about Mercedes Mone. And I like Dave, and I'm not saying Dave is biased towards AEW. I think everyone can make their own opinion on that. Dave has changed his own rules in a lot of ways when it comes to judging success and failure. Because Mercedes Moné, hey, I'm not spoiling everything for you because she was already doing this a month ago. She's going around and winning titles on every indie promotion. And Dave got into an argument with somebody who basically was asking how was this helping out any of these indie companies, and Dave was like, well, she just did I think a promotion in Denmark. They drew 1,600 people, and the promoter got involved too and said, hey, and I'll say this, that's great, she drew 1,600 people, she drew a house. Comparatively speaking, no, they didn't draw 20,000 people to see Mercedes Moné wrestle, but for an independent company in Denmark, they drew a house for Mercedes Moné coming in and winning their championship. My question is, outside of obviously the AEW TBS title and outside of the CMLL title where she's defending it semi-regularly, has Mercedes gone back to have a second appearance at any of these companies to defend these championships?
I'm still irritated that she lost the strong women's title for no fucking reason.
I think even New Japan, who lets AEW sometimes walk all over them, I think, they're like, okay, yeah, we can move on from that. But it's like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, yes, she drew one house for each of these companies. Well, I don't even know if each of these companies. She drew one house for at least one of these companies. What's she doing for the second appearance? Because right now, and I've mentioned this earlier, it feels a lot like the Austin Aries gimmick when he went around and won everybody's title belt, in like 2016 or whatever that was, and then he didn't go back and lose anybody's title belt.
Have breaking news. Jey Uso won the Battle Royal on Raw to win the right to defend the linear AEW World Championship against CM Punk. So might be closing another loop here.
That's tremendous. And that surprises me a little bit. I guess I didn't actually closely look at the graphic because I figured it would be Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed because, that was the gimmick. But whatever. I guess we can't have one of them, lose. And I guess that's probably going to lead to Survivor Series somehow. So, whatever. Yeah. I don't know if interested is the right word, but in about 6 weeks, I can't wait to hear what you say about Wrestle Dream. How is your modern day wrestling going?
It's coming. I'm in September now. It's just, it's.
You have
Here's
a
the
life.
thing. I don't have much of a life, but I have like enough to do that. And what I'm doing doesn't even fucking matter. It's just me trying to find a reason to make existence worthwhile.
Okay. Well, so I think we went a little bit longer today than we had the last couple of shows, so I hope you all enjoyed this. Hey, we had a little bit more content than usual, even though we had one fewer match to talk about. But I think we'll wrap things up from here. Any final words, comments, concerns, emotional outbursts before we wrap things up?
I'll keep my emotional outburst to the private chat.
Okay, sounds good. And then I'll read them tomorrow on the Smoky Mountain Show. I won't. It's all right. Thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.